At number 10, we have the formerly super hot girl group of the 90s, TLC, and their current members Tion T-Boz Watkins and Rosanda Chili Thomas going through issues of debt and underpayment. You can imagine how odd it struck me that a famous group who once sold over 10 million albums has the word broke associated with them. Well, the remaining girls of TLC can relate, because since their massive success behind their 1994 Crazy Sexy Cool album, and soon the loss of their third late member Lisa Left Eye Lopez, they found themselves a bit low on the cash scale. In the 2007 self-documentary from Lisa, the late rapper discussed each member's earnings from the album, which amount to approximately $300,000 due to quote taxes, fees paid to the recording studio, and record company cuts from profits. And while the group moved on to sell over 65 million CDs worldwide, it didn't necessarily translate into their personal riches, especially for Tion. Despite holding 1/3 of the best-selling American girl group of all time title, Tion filed for bankruptcy for the second time in 2011 and accumulated over $1 million in debt. She now has a net worth of $1.5 million to her name approximately. As for Rosanda, she seems to have grown into a better financial position than her once bandmate, as she holds onto a net worth of $8 million roughly. At number 9, we have actress Natasha Lyonne. Small and big screen fans will most likely know of Natasha through her highly praised role on 1999's American Pie, as well as her work in Netflix's drom-com Orange is the New Black from 2013 onward. But it's between these two projects that Natasha's life had seen a quick spiral. As for today, Natasha was struggling with an intense hard substance addiction, which soon had her in prison, and then later hospitalized for following quote hepatitis, a heart infection, a collapsed lung, and coverage of track marks. The beloved actress straightened herself out in time, but she told Entertainment Weekly in 2012 that her journey was understandably troubled. Parts of her discussion included spiraling into addiction is really scary. Some things have a very A to B scientific effect. It's weird to talk about. I was definitely as good as dead. A lot of people don't come back. That makes me feel weary. I wouldn't want to feel prideful about it. People really rallied around me and pulled me up by my bootstraps. There was a warrant for my arrest, which helped too. At number 8, we have Ben Affleck, whose career was branded as pretty much done for by the beginning of 2004. His high-profile engagement to Jennifer Lopez got called quits, and his on-screen works were said to have been tanking overall. So many agreed that his attempt to revive his career off-camera made sense. To be honest, fans wanted nothing to do with the star at one point, and it almost seemed like he was going to be officially known as a Hollywood has-been. However, there isn't one person so far who has disagreed that this attempt hasn't indeed helped him since. In 2007, he tried to regain traction for the first time with Gone Baby Gone, which was quickly branded as a critical smash and graced Ben with raving reviews he hadn't experienced since his Oscar win for Good Will Hunting in 1988. Once known to be a joke in Hollywood, Ben soon became a well-respected and highly sought-after director. He followed up with even hotter hits like Box Office Attractor The Twin in 2010, which went for nearly $100 million, and Argo dubbed the Best Picture Oscar back in 2013. Nowadays, who even remembers the 2013 flop that was Geely? I sure don't.
Number 7. Will Smith. Will Smith lost a significant amount of followers after his infamous altercation with Chris Rock at the Oscars. The incident occurred when Chris made a comment about Will's wife hair. The comment wasn't taken lightly by Jada and Will, causing Will to take the stage. The world was left stunned witnessing the event that occurred, and many were left wondering if the incident was staged or not. It was later said that it wasn't, and the Academy then came out and said they did not condone the altercation that occurred. However, they wanted to thank Chris Rock for maintaining his composure under extraordinary circumstances. They then said Will furthermore will be banned from the Oscars gala and any other Academy events for the next 10 years. Later, Will would post to Instagram to say violence is never the answer and his behavior at the award was unacceptable and inexcusable. He then said, "All jokes at my expense are part of the job, but a joke about Jada's medical condition was too much for me to bear and I reacted emotionally." He then went to apologize to Chris and noticed his actions were embarrassing and did not show the man he wanted to be. Number 6. Jeffree Star. Jeffree Star lost followers when beauty YouTuber Cameron Lester posted to Instagram to say he was cutting all ties with Jeffree Star and Jeffree Star's cosmetics. Cameron claimed while working with Jeffree, he felt like he was the token black kid and that he was manipulated and left feeling fearful about the whole situation. He also noted that after he began to pull his friendship with Star, Jeffree replaced him as a model in his campaign, cremated for his line. Cameron said it felt like Jeffree was sending a message and that Cameron was replaceable as a black man in the beauty industry. Later, a voice memo sent by Jeffree in response to the video was leaked online and retweeted by Cameron, where he claimed Jeffree flipped the script and made up a bunch of lies. The internet soon started to be flooded with other people's experiences with Jeffree, and one claimed he once called Gwen Stefani a very offensive word towards Jewish people. Number 5. Chrissy Teigen. Chrissy Teigen is said to have felt lost after becoming part of Cancel Club. When tweets resurfaced of Chrissy cyberbullying Courtney Stodden, more allegations about the star started to come forward and the internet started to go crazy. Before disabling her Twitter account, the star went on to tweet one last tweet which said, "For the last 10 years you guys have been my world. I honestly owe so much to this world we created here." She then went on to note that she no longer felt like her page served her as someone who was positive, and it started to serve her negatively. Then to end things off, she told followers she believed it was finally time to call something, and the star exited Twitter. Over time, Chrissy has noted that she was mortified and sad at the woman she used to be, and that she was just an insecure troll, and continued to apologize for the incident since her return to Twitter. Number 4. Travis Scott. On November 5th, 2021, Travis Scott took the stage to perform at his Astroworld event. However, he truly had no idea how this event would change his life forever. When concert goers stormed the barriers, many innocent lives were lost and many were injured as a result of the surge. Sadly, instead of stopping the concert when Scott saw ambulances making their way through the thick of the crowd, he continued playing his set, making fans and music labels wanting nothing to do with the star anymore. Since the incident, not only has Travis Scott lost followers, but he's also lost millions of dollars from pulled contracts. He was even replaced on his Coachella appearance. The star is also currently being sued for $2 billion.
At number 3, we have America's most infamous domestic diva, Martha Stewart. Martha's career quite literally fell to pieces in 2004 when she was sentenced to 5 months in prison, followed by an additional 5 months of house arrest in light of her alleged involvement in an insider trading scandal. As a savvy businesswoman that she is, though, Martha managed to pick up the mess of her career and start a new chapter of success. She aimed for cultural relevance through her odd but persuasive friendship with successful rapper of his time, Snoop Dogg. In accordance with People, the two's unconventional relationship dates back to when Martha was a daytime talk show host for her self-titled series, where Snoop had made a couple of appearances to cook up brownies and mashed potatoes. Still, this dynamic duo didn't pick up speed in Hollywood until their 2015 Comedy Central roast of Justin Bieber, making mega headlines. Martha had created claims following this that she got a quote contact high from one of Snoop's friends. It was here where further opportunities birthed themselves, including their 2017 cooking show on VH1, where both Martha and Snoop received Emmy nominations. Their loss to RuPaul did absolutely nothing for their reputation though, as Martha rose from fanless to millions charmers in one of the most unexpected ways. I guess this is much more than an Emmy, but still, that gold statue would have been a sweet seal of the deal on Martha's reborn success. At number 2, we have Hannah Montana Disney star Miley Cyrus, who spent majority of her life playing a bubbly, dorky teen who lived life as an undercover pop star. However, she very quickly broke free of her innocence once her Disney contract was terminated, transforming from that of a picture-perfect squeaky clean tween to a twerking, smoking, and wrecking ball swinging wild child who left most of America stunned. Her 2013 VMAs performance with Robin Thicke for his Blurred Lines single left many straight up uncomfy, and she lost a lot of support for growing up and breaking free of her suffocating childhood days. Since then, Miley has definitely cleaned up her image a bit. She still remains herself, but in a less butt-shaking, smoking all day type of way. And in true full circle, Miley has indeed seemed to officially grow up with her current lifestyle of chart-topping music and zen hippie-esque ways. At number 1, we have one of the most iconic pairings to make it big, musicians and media personalities Beyonce and Jay-Z. Now, to be fair, obviously this one isn't even close to being relevant to the status of these Hollywood legends today, but at one point they nearly lost all their fans amidst a scandal that shocked the whole world. In May 2014, TMZ released a shocking video of Beyonce's sister Solange Knowles physically attacking her husband Jay-Z inside an elevator. The footage was a PR nightmare for the billion-dollar music royalty, as it opened up the floodgates that were Jay-Z's cheating cheating allegations. However, aside from the trio rapidly issuing a statement, the couple remained pretty quiet on the matter. They took to music to make a point, with Beyonce releasing the iconic, critically acclaimed 2016 album Lemonade, which was widely perceived as the breakdown to all of their marital problems and Jay's infidelity. Luckily for them though, their reputation didn't completely fizzle out, as they still remain as one of the top dogs in the industry, as well as one of Hollywood's most influential power couples.
Number 10. Lea Michele. The actress who played the most arrogant character on Glee has recently been outed as being one of the meanest celebrities in Hollywood. The music TV series that helped Lea Michele rise to fame was also her undoing, as it looks like the horrible way she treated the cast and crew on set came back to bite her. Many of her peers, including actress Samantha Ware, spoke out against her behavior. She told Variety, quote, "It was after I did my first performance. That's when it started. The silent treatment, the stare downs, the looks, the comments under her breath, the weird passive aggressiveness, it all built up." After Samantha spoke out, dozens of co-stars, film crew and staff flooded social media with stories about the diva. There were even reports of Michelle only speaking to people through her assistant and not acknowledging her co-star's presence. As expected, she came out and issued an apology, but people still haven't forgotten about her atrocious behavior, and when it was announced that she was replacing fellow actress Beanie Feldstein in the Broadway production of Funny Girl, fans were up in arms and some have even called for a boycott. Number 9. Mike Myers. His name is synonymous with the hilarious and charismatic character Austin Powers. However, the actor is reportedly completely different in real life, especially on set. There have been numerous reports suggesting that Myers is a nightmare to work with some even claiming him to be a control freak and grumpy. It has come to light that the actor makes tons of demands of his assistants. In fact, Myers reportedly made life a daily nightmare for the cast and crew of one of his biggest films. According to Amy Hill, who was his co-star in The Cat in the Hat, she said it was a horrible, nightmarish experience. Hill claimed that he selfishly kept everyone waiting for hours, overruled the director, and even had someone standing by just holding his personal chocolates in a dish. Quote, "It was so weird, it was just the worst, I was miserable." Another story involves a fan that offered to buy the actor a drink. After telling Myers how much he enjoyed his work, Myers allegedly just looked at him and said, "I can afford my own drinks," cursed at him, and said, "Save your money for my next movie." Ouch. Apart from being notoriously difficult to work with, his mean-spirited attitude towards regular people have shrunk his fan base down to a fraction of what it used to be. Number 8. Rachael Ray. The celebrity cook has a reputation for being a meanie. Many fans in her audience have reported that before filming her show, she often avoids speaking to them and appears cold and disinterested, and just looks like she would rather be somewhere else. But it's not just her fans. In fact, several famous chefs have publicly come out saying that they straight up don't like her, like Martha Stewart and the late Anthony Bourdain. Even members of Ray's own family have turned against her. In 2013, scandal broke out after Ray's aunt, Geraldine, tragically died while staying at Ray's house. But neither Ray nor her husband John showed up at the funeral. Instead, she was allegedly tweeting about cats, recipes, and TV shows, which led her cousin, Gina Mesnick, to speak out against her. Quote, "I found it very insensitive and inappropriate. It just shows how demeaning Rachael was to my family on the day we buried my mom after she died under such horrible circumstances." Her fan base is now practically non-existent. In fact, a good portion of the internet harbors deep loathing for the chef. There's so many online forums dedicated to Rachael Ray slander. In fact, there's even a blog called Rachael Ray Sucks, and you can guess what kind of things people post on there.
At number 7, we have actor Matthew McConaughey. His 2013 was deemed as one of his best years due to how well his acclaimed performances in multiple on-screen projects were. His work in Magic Mike in 2012 landed Matthew securing his 2013 position in the acting world, surely hoping to have everyone forget his features in rom-coms Failure to Launch back in 2006 and Fool's Gold in 2008. These two single works had Matthew being disregarded by fans and Hollywood at one point, with no sure sight of revival. However, in light of the end of his 2012 and the beginning of his 2013, Matthew was established as a edgier actor from indie drama Mud, where he received raved reviews. Following this, Matthew took part in Dallas's Buyers Club in late 2013 and shed over 40 pounds to act as a dying AIDS patient by the name of Ron Woodruff. Matthew's DBC performance won him a multitude of high-profile awards in Hollywood, which included an Oscar. He was reborn as an actor, and he impressed so many in the industry that his re-come-up was branded by most as the period of the reconnaissance. His Dallas Buyers Club role fell in line with his next performance in HBO's True Detective 2014 miniseries. He also landed a role in Christopher Nolan's Interstellar in the same year. His smaller acting works haven't gained as much traction, but it is quite impressive how Matthew picked himself up from the ground of becoming a washed-up Hollywood actor to one that will unsurprisingly go on to possibly land another Oscar under his belt. Talk about rising from the ashes. At number 6, we have comedian and actor Kevin Hart, who has had an extensive career of making millions laugh for many years. But in 2017, his past actions left many just as furious. News broke when that Kevin was tangled in an allegation which exploited him supposedly engaging in sexually suggestive conduct with a woman who was not his pregnant wife at the time. Kevin had posted a cryptic video to Instagram with apologies to Aniko Parrish as well as his children for, quote, making a bad error in judgment and placing himself in a bad environment where only bad things can happen. Unfortunately for Kevin, but deservingly, his attempts at getting ahead of the scandal did not stop it from scorning his career and losing his fans in the blink of an eye. His cheating accusations, which he later confirmed to be true on Netflix's docuseries surrounding the star called Kevin Hart Don't F This Up, later revealed how quick Kevin was to dodge any headlines involving both the unnamed woman in the video and his first wife. Aniko has since reported to Inside Edition that Kevin's lies and infidelity spoiled their relationship, but they are still currently together. At number 5, we have the king of pop, Michael Jackson. His rise and fall has been heavily documented and inspected both while he was still with us and long after he departed. However, the focus of his fall in question always reels back to his legal troubles more than his financial ones, despite them both making major headlines for just about any news outlet you can think of. Michael's transition of simply being one of the most iconic artists of all time, racking up a startling $100 million per year, eventually wound up with his passing away with secrets he simply could not bury with him. Exactly how did he get here though? Well, apparently Michael made it a habit of eating away at his fortune from all the spending he did on real estate, including millions upon millions of dollars being invested into the Neverland Ranch. He also funded $65 million worth of art projects during his time, not to mention his ongoing legal fees amidst the scandals of his child essay allegation charges back in 2005. According to Celebrity Net Worth, the total of all these finances amounted to about $20 million, but despite his financial woes while he was still alive, his brand remains superior even today. Michael Jackson's executors have rebuilt his legacy and reigned his posthumous net worth to $500 million, branding his estate as one of the richest to exist. At number 4, we have America's favorite victim, Miss Taylor Swift. Now, the reason I put it like this is because from the minute Kanye West had interrupted her acceptance speech during the 2009 MTV VMAs, Taylor was branded as someone who never did anything wrong. A sweet, young, innocent country girl who had been publicly humiliated by a tacky rapper who cared more about a bottle than his reputation at the time. Deliberately or not, Taylor definitely carried this persona with her throughout the multiple scandals she would land herself in for years to follow, many of which involved her getting the last laugh at Kanye for making him look silly and getting the final word in. And this didn't just happen musically either, she also took on this narrative in her relationships as well. Taylor's perfectly positioned house of cards came tumbling down massively amidst her catty breakup with DJ Calvin Harris, and again with her Tom Hiddleston fling. Following this, there was also the wild beef between Taylor and reality star and former Miss West Kim Kardashian. Despite Taylor publicly informing fans that she never approved her name being used in Kanye's controversial song, Kim had released video footage over Snapchat later of Taylor seemingly giving the green light to be featured in the track deemed by the press as misogynistic. So whether or not Taylor is the quote snake that Kim has implied her to be still remains up for debate. However, after the year that was 2016 for Miss I Knew You Were Trouble When You Walked In, literally no one keeps up with that innocent girl with the guitar act anymore, not even Taylor herself. Though I'm sure that might even have something small to do with Taylor and her then crew being branded as the 21st century's Mean Girls. Big yikes.
Number 3, Katherine Heigl. Television medical drama Grey's Anatomy catapulted Katherine Heigl into the limelight. The thing is, she has a reputation of being extremely unpleasant to work with, and after trashing her most popular movie ever, she lost a whole bunch of fans. I'm talking about 2007's Knocked Up. It was not just hilarious but very well received all round, scoring an 89% on Rotten Tomatoes and bringing in $219 million at the box office against a $25 million budget, but Catherine was less than thrilled about her participation in the movie and called the film sexist, telling Vanity Fair in 2008 that she thought the movie, quote, paints women as shrews, as humorless and uptight. It paints the men as lovable, goofy, fun-loving guys. She went on to say that she had a hard time with the film on some days because she said that her character was a B-word and a killjoy. Not only that, but Heigl's bad reputation stems largely from her decision to decline a second Emmy nomination for Grey's Anatomy in 2008. She released a cringy public statement that claimed she simply wasn't given the material this season to warrant an Emmy nomination. Talk about biting the hand that feeds you. Number 2, Jamie Lynn Spears. Someone that has lost all support from what little fan base she had to begin with is Jamie Lynn Spears. She's known pretty much as the younger sibling of Britney Spears, but she didn't exactly hide long in her sister's shadow before entering the limelight. Although she made a few appearances in film and television as a child, she didn't receive star status until landing the lead role as Zoe Brooks on the Nickelodeon show Zoe 101. After 3 years on the very popular show, the then 16-year-old announced that she was pregnant, effectively ending her role and putting her acting career on hiatus. But people dislike the star because of the horrific way she has treated her sister over the years. In fact, fans of Britney have heavily criticized Jamie Lynn for an apparent lack of support during her sister's 14-year-long conservatorship. In fact, the former actress has been accused of trying to steal Britney's fortune, fighting against the movement to free her from her conservatorship, and writing tell-all books to try and profit off of her sister's name while trying to make her look bad. With Britney now finally able to speak up for herself and reportedly working on her own memoir, it will probably result in even more exposure of Jamie Lynn's horrific behavior. Number 1, Faye Dunaway. Once called the worst person in Hollywood by Bette Davis, the Academy Award winner is no doubt one of the meanest people in the industry. In 2019, she was actually fired from the Broadway production of Tea at 5 because of bizarre behavior which included hurling objects at crew members and slapping her wig-fitting team, throwing salad on the floor, and even insisting that no one wear white to rehearsal because it's distracting. That's not all. In fact, she reportedly shrieks at service industry employees and thinks that her plane tickets should be upgraded as a matter of principle. A flight attendant once claimed Dunaway was screaming at everyone, saying, "Don't you know who I am?" And while filming Chinatown, the actor once reportedly threw a cup of urine on director Roman Polanski because he wouldn't let her use the restroom. In 2019, she was also sued by her former personal assistant, who claimed that she regularly and relentlessly subjected him to, quote, demeaning tirades, and used his sexual orientation as a gay man against him. And according to an insider, Dunaway was so demonic on the set of Mummy Dearest that no one dared to approach her for fear of being verbally attacked. So it's not surprising that she no longer has many fans left at all.
Number 10, Laura Lee. Beauty YouTuber Laura Lee suffered the fate of her past after a tweet resurfaced from 6 years ago. The tweet uncovered her making insensitive comments mainly about black men. The drama all started when Laura's ex-best friend Shane Dawson's fans uncovered some old racist and body-shaming tweets on her account. Laura later deleted the tweets, however, before they were deleted, fans can see Laura making fun of Chinese people and made some pretty insensitive comments towards black people. Twitter definitely wasn't impressed with the beauty star, and she later came out with an apology that stated, "I apologize from the bottom of my heart to anyone affected by my tweets." The star then went on to note that she deactivated her Twitter account because she was mad at herself for the tweets she posted in 2012, and that she wasn't the same girl she is today. She then tried to throw off being from a small town where she had grown up with no culture or education, and that is the reason she was the way she was when she tweeted the post. But none of us believe that apology, because no matter where you're from, you have the choice to be a decent human being, so make the right choice, because you never know when your past will come back to haunt you. Number 9, Olivia Jade. For those who need an Operation Varsity Blues refresher, back in May of 2020, Olivia Jade's parents both pleaded guilty to paying $500,000 to ensure Olivia and her sister Isabel were accepted into the University of Southern California. The two sisters were admitted as rowing recruits, although they never played the sport. In the following college admissions scandal, Olivia Jade in fact did lose followers and influence on her YouTube channel. She also lost out on deals with Sephora, Tresemme, Estee Lauder, and many more at this time. After being quiet for months about the scandal, Olivia came back on social media as her parents prepared their prison sentences in the scheme. In a video posted to Olivia's YouTube, she explained she was legally not allowed to talk about the scandal, and she was initially terrified to make the video when she came back. The star has since dropped out of USC with no plans to return and finally seems to be bouncing back from the scandal. Number 8. Ellen DeGeneres. Ellen DeGeneres lost over 1 million followers after it surfaced the star created a toxic workplace environment on her show. After the television host spent years on top before being exposed for the questionable ways she treated people working on the show, this star lost more than followers and she actually ended up losing her show. The accusations came to light when numerous employees working on the show came forward in a report posted to BuzzFeed, claiming to be working in an environment that was racially insensitive and based on fear and intimidation. Some even accused executive producers of rampant ravishment and harassment. Ellen later came out to respond to the allegations by saying she was taking full responsibility and added she is taking the allegations very seriously and said, "I'm so sorry to the people who were affected. I know that I'm in a position of privilege and power, and I realize that with that comes responsibility, and I take responsibility for what happens at my show." However, some viewers were still left unimpressed with the star when she made jokes about the allegations upon her return to her show.
Number 7. Russell Crowe. The actor has had a reputation for being outright mean to both his Hollywood peers and his fans, making him an extremely controversial figure in the industry. I mean, where to start with Russell Crowe? There were rumors that he threatened any media platform that published stories about him having a fling with Courtney Love. But a great example of his overall attitude is when he intimidated and attacked the producer of the BAFTA Awards for cutting his speech short and preventing him from reciting poetry. In 2005, he was then charged with criminal possession of a weapon for allegedly throwing a phone and cutting a hotel clerk's eye, all because he was unable to get connected with his wife. One of the lesser talked about but worrying incidents involves Crowe and rapper Azealia Banks. Crowe forcibly removed her from a party he was hosting. Not only that, but he was said to have been violent and allegedly spat on her and used racist language. The Australian actor is also notoriously difficult to work with and is known for regularly shouting at his scriptwriters, yelling at them on phone calls while discussing the story. So it's safe to say that he lost not only film roles but a lot of fans due to his outright nastiness. Number 6. Jared Leto. The actor and singer really seemed to be getting a lot of backlash in recent years, especially in the era of the Me Too movement. It seemed that out of his fellow Hollywood celebrities, not everyone was willing to be silent when they heard he was behaving inappropriately towards young women. In 2018, Suit Life of Zack and Cody star Dylan Sprouse came forward on Twitter and brought disturbing allegations against him to light. Quote, "Yo, Jared Leto, now that you've slid into the DMs of every female model aged 18 to 25, what would you say your success rate is?" As you would have predicted, the tweet totally blew up and many people were happy that he was finally getting called out. The situation quickly escalated when Guardians of the Galaxy director James Gunn tweeted the following as an answer to Sprouse's initial tweet. Quote, "He starts at 18 on the internet? Aside from predatory behavior, Leto has treated his fans horribly and was seen on occasion randomly giving the finger to audience members. As a result, he really doesn't have many mainstream fans left, save for the fans of his cult/band 30 Seconds to Mars."
Number 3. Kylie Jenner. In 2019, Kylie Jenner lost millions of followers. Thankfully for the star, it was only temporary as there was a glitch in the system. Twitter took to saying they were aware of an issue that was causing a change in account follower numbers for some people right now, and they were working hard to resolve the issue as quickly as possible. Twitter also noted the bug was completely unrelated to inactive accounts or bot accounts being deleted. Luckily for Kylie, her loss of followers was due to a malfunction rather than a scandal, and she was even able to escape losing followers after attending Travis Scott's Astroworld concert. Number 2. Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj lost 10 million followers after her decision to pose for Russian magazine back in 2008. With many of Nicki's fans being part of the LGBTQ community, and the fact that Russian laws are against the community being notoriously harsh, caused the star to face a lot of backlash. In Russia, any propaganda promoting LGBTQ relationships and relationships themselves are banned. Homophobia runs wild in the country, and people are routinely extinguished when open about their sexuality. It didn't take fans long to slam the star, and one even pointed out that during the time she'd lost 1.2 million followers overnight, which then escalated to almost 10 million within the week.